A very good evening to all the viewers of Mojo Story, our independent digital platform. On the program today, every breath we take is literally killing us. It is that time of the year again when we are talking about air pollution. Yet year to year, we're having exactly the same conversation. Election season comes and goes, and yet the state of our air never becomes a voting issue. Why is this not the main story everywhere? Why is this not what people vote on the basis of? Well, we have decided on this platform that we are going to devote a lot of time and energy to this issue, especially because coupled with the pandemic, today we have proof that COVID is actually getting much worse, and your chances of being seriously impacted by it are that much worse if the air is bad. So why are Indians not angrier about air pollution, especially when we look at the data and we see that it's killing our children, it's killing our babies, it's leading to premature deaths, and it's also leading to the deaths of adults. On the program today, a series of stakeholders. Let me introduce all of them one by one, and we'll have other voices, other people joining in as well. Let me introduce first Bhavreen Kandhari. Bhavreen Kandhari leads a citizens initiative called Warrior Moms, and it really has been left to citizens instead of the political class to lead this fight. And I think nothing represents the citizens initiative better than the two young men, boys really, that we have on the program today. We have Aditya, and we also have Aman, and welcome to both of you. Aditya and Aman are the teenage boys who petitioned the Supreme Court, which actually led to the legislation, the ordinance that we now have available to us on air pollution. But is that ordinance going to change anything at all? Then there's Diwali coming up. The Chief Minister of Delhi at least is saying, do not burst crackers. Is that the answer? What about stubble burning? What about industrial pollution? What about vehicular pollution? Remember that the stakes are extremely high. Anuja is here to share her own personal story about what happened with her baby. Remember, babies, infants are dying, premature births are taking place, and there are all sorts of complications that are taking place because of air pollution. We're also joined by Dr. Uman John. He's a doctor, but he's really here in his capacity as someone who is suffering health-wise from air pollution himself. And we'll also be having a series of other voices joining us as the program goes along. But let me start let me start with you, Anuja, because I think your story is really moving. And before I actually ask you to talk about what happened with you, I just want to bring up this data point. A new global study says that 1.67 million Indians died in 2019 from air pollution. And guess how many children were among that number? 116,000. That means over 100,000 babies died in this country from air pollution in a single year. Now, if this isn't going to get us agitated, if this isn't going to get us worked up, I literally do not know what is. So, Anuja, I want to start by asking you to share the story of what happened with you and your little one.
Thanks, Vardha. We moved to Gurgaon in 2006.
Can you pick up your headphone and speak? Anuja, can you pick up your headphone speaker and speak, please? Yeah. You know, it'll have a little mic attached to it. Your headphones will have a mic. Just
no, not this one. Can you
speak?
hear me?
Okay, go ahead. We'll
So we were in Bombay when we moved to, and our firstborn was born. You know, the daughter was born there, and she never had any medical issues, no complications. But when we moved to Gurgaon in 2006, and that's where our second baby was born, Tobhyam. I don't know, like despite, you know, good eating and healthy diet and exercising and everything, he was born nearly 1 month before his due date. And, you know, it was just a doctor's appointment where I went, and the doctor said, you know, the amniotic fluid has dried up completely. You must rush to the, you know, hospital for OT, like C-section right now. So we were absolutely unprepared, and we went to the hospital. In 1 hour, they literally evacuated the baby, and, you know, he was dry, powdery. And since that day, our life just changed. He was susceptible to all sorts of infections. Our life changed. We couldn't go out. The what we eat, where we go, where we travel, what kind of soap or detergent or anything that we use or the clothes we wear, everything changed drastically. And my daughter was 4.5, so she just couldn't figure out, does it happen to all babies? Why is this little baby always crying? And then when he was 7 months, he started wheezing one day, and I literally had never heard that sound before. So I thought that something was stuck in his chest and he was trying to cough or something. But when it continued for like a couple of minutes, and I thought there's something not right about it. We went to the hospital in Gurgaon, and they said, oh, he has major wheezing, and he can't breathe, so he needs to be nebulized, and you need to stay in the hospital. So that was just like an abrupt introduction to what was the next new life was going to be. And since that day, we had to nebulize him couple of times a day. And this test, that test, he just did not enjoy his childhood like people would go in strollers or garden.
Yeah.
Or we just stopped everything. It was a drastic stop to everything.
How old is he now? I'm just going to bring up his pictures again, and we can have a look at him. This is, of course, him as a newborn. How old is he now?
He's 13, and
Okay.
touchwood, he's out of all of that. But we had to move out of Gurgaon, when he was 2.5, because it was just unbearable what he was going through. And his birthday also, we spent all day in the hospital, and we came back home around 6, 7, and then did a random celebration because my daughter wanted her little brother's birthday. So he didn't go for any of those classes or fun things or play school because he couldn't be with people. He was, just prone to any kind of allergy. When we moved to Chennai, thankfully it started getting better.
So,
It took
so
nearly,
let me ask
yeah.
you this. I mean, I'm glad he's out of the woods now, but why do you think people are not angry? Like, why is this not what our elections are being sort of fought and won or lost on? Why is this not the mainstream media issue? Why are we talking about all kinds of other bakwas every night, or, on our news, and not talking about the things that really matter? Why are citizens not showing more anger on this? Anuja, and the same question to Bhavreen then.
See, I guess if I talk from my perspective, when my child was going through all of that, I was absolutely unprepared. Nobody told me that if you move to Gurgaon, this may happen to you. So I
Yeah.
was dealing with issues, and at that time, baby is more important than raising a voice somewhere else because my baby needed me 24 hours. So I guess now when he's out of it, I know what others can go through and others who are silent. And so I decided to be their voice.
Yeah.
I know that we cannot be quiet about it anymore.
So I'm seeing Saurabh Bhardwaj actually joining us. He's, of course, a leader of the Aam Aadmi Party in Delhi. The Delhi Chief Minister today has said, please do not burst firecrackers. Diwali season is upon us. He is appealing to people not to burst firecrackers. And he is also making the point that COVID is getting much more complicated by the fact that the air quality is actually declining. So let me take this straight away to Saurabh. Welcome to the program, Saurabh. I think you have a lot of agitated mothers. You have young boys who went to the Supreme Court, and you have a sense of frustration among ordinary people कि नेताओं को इस चीज का कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता. Every year the same thing happens. ये conversation आता है, जाता है, winter comes, winter goes, and like a cliche, we're back here saying exactly the same thing year after year. So has anything changed at all, Saurabh, in our fight against this air, which is killing us? No, we can't hear you. We actually can't hear you. Can you pick up your mic to your mouth?
You hear me now?
If you're no, we just lost you there. So we'll get him back. Don't worry. He'll come back. We're not actually able to hear him, so maybe we can test him before we actually take him on. Bhavreen, do you want to come in on this point? We couldn't hear Saurabh, so we need to test him before we bring him on. Bhavreen, do you want to actually come in on this point of the sense of deja vu that year after year it's actually exactly the same story, and there'll be these perfunctory programs, and even the data doesn't seem to scare us. That our babies are dying doesn't seem to scare us. That children are being born premature doesn't seem to scare us. That COVID is getting worse because of air pollution doesn't seem to scare us. Like nothing actually scares us. Nothing moves us.
Yes, that's very unfortunate, Barkha, and that's the reason, in fact, the politicians are not taking that seriously. Like this, the air pollution doesn't sell. They absolutely concentrate on all issues that are, that bring votes to them. And these are a handful of people, like some of us. I mean, it's been years and years, and there were years when people and politicians wouldn't believe that the air is dirty. We've come a long, long way, and at least we are not in denial anymore. But obviously, the results are not there, so we're on the same, same place and same boat. So the point is that people, you can bring in as many studies and as many research work that we are bringing forward. Usually, something like what happened to Anuja, until it doesn't happen to someone of your, you really know somebody close, then you don't think so. And now a lot of people talk, but the elite thinks they can buy everything. We can, okay, we'll put 3 air purifiers in the room, or my child will go in the car, those kind of things. And the underprivileged is caught up with their own struggles of earning and making their daily daily wages, that they cannot fight that, and they're anyway in this mess. So what happens is that there are not many people who are talking about this. I mean, it may sound right now, because at the end of the year, this time, the few of us who are speaking and they are talking, but they're not enough, as compared to the other issues that, like you said, in
So,
the
so,
every.
so so let me ask you before, and I'm hoping we can hear Saurabh this time. Let me ask you, as a mother, as a parent, as someone who runs a citizens initiative on this, what do you want the political class to do that it is not doing?
It's absolutely in one word, which I've been saying over and again. Many other people say it's the intent that is lacking. This is not nothing. You cannot go and tell the shopkeepers that the crackers are banned right now. I mean, do you understand that they also have a livelihood? They bought those crackers and they have stocked their shop. They have their staff. You cannot tell them you ban it right now. This should have been done last year at this time for this year.
Yeah.
Or anything for that matter, thermal power plants or the waste management or construction, everything that we are doing has to work. You have to work it out all year through. You cannot start doing things right now or stubble. We're doing experiments right now. This doesn't work.
Okay.
So that comes only with intent. If you really want to, like, we are in that emergency that I want to change. Even if the ban starts today, I'm thinking, oh, my children already were breathing that poison yesterday on Karwa Chauth. How much smoke they breathe.
Yeah.
So we've
So,
lost those moments. They're damaged.
So let me take this to Saurabh in the hope that we can actually hear him this time. Saurabh, I think what citizens are complaining about, what parents are complaining about, is a lack of urgency, because basically a neta does not lose or win elections on the basis of air pollution. So he or she simply does not take it seriously. Year after year, we are in this situation, not just in the national capital now, but even in bordering cities. And year after year, we're having the same discussion. Is it firecrackers? Is it vehicular pollution? Is it stubble burning? Is it industrial pollution? And our children are dying. We were just looking at this number which says 116,000 infants died in India from air pollution in 2019. Go ahead, Saurabh, and make your point.
Okay, and I'm sorry for the technical thing, and I hope you can hear me now. Are you able to hear it?
No, not so good.
Not so great, Saurabh. Not so great at all, actually. It's very, very
Can
faint.
you hear me now?
Not so good.
Are you able to hear me now?
Yeah, it's a bit better.
Is it better?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Better?
go ahead.
Hello. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Baka, sorry for this trouble that I'm having this.
Okay. Why don't we let you fix your shot? Yeah, we can hear you now. Nope.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Sorry,
No.
we're going to have to let you fix your shot, and we'll come back to you. Okay, let's actually not take him without checking him, and let me take the same thing to Dr. Uman John. You're a doctor, but you're also a patient today, Dr. John. So speak about your experience.
So, Barkha, for the last couple of weeks, I've been having strange headaches. I've been chronically coughing. So then the worry that one has in this current season is that, is it COVID or not? So you would like to get tested, but you don't have fever. So I've been continuously monitoring myself for my oxygen saturation. And then the other thing is that with this constant dull aching headache, you can't work. So I am working currently at my 50% capacity. And but I'm sitting inside home. I have the luxury of working from home, and I am having the best of the quality air purifiers. So if this is the state for me, who is an informed person who knows really well about this condition and taking all precautions possible, still I am not able to function. I am at 50% of my capacity. What about the person on the street? He has to be there to sell aware or to do some manual labor, and he is breathing this unfiltrate, straight into his lungs. We are just going to reduce his lifetime by half, perhaps.
Yeah. But here's the point. Saurabh, one more attempt to try and hear you. Why are we not able to get you all to take this seriously? One second, let me unmute you now. Yeah, go ahead. Saurabh? Saurabh, are you able to hear me? Okay, sorry, this is just not working. So we will just keep trying till we can actually get him. This is the perils of live broadcasting sometimes. So let me actually, open this up for conversation to the young boys on our screen. We have Aditya with us, and we also have Aman with us. And Aditya and Aman together actually went to the Supreme Court. So let me start with you, Aditya, if I can. What made you, how old are you? First, let me ask you, how old are you?
I'm 17 and a half.
And Aman, how old are you?
I'm 20.
Okay, so 17 and a half and 20, and maybe together you did what a lot of grown-ups have failed to do. So Aditya and Aman, I'll ask you, Aditya, first, what happened? How did you, I know both of you have a friend. Aman wrote an email to me saying that Aman has a friend who's asthmatic. So talk a little bit about how you as young
Yes,
boys, teenagers, ended up going to court. I'll start with you, Aditya.
of course. So I started working on this issue in 2019, and as the AQI in Delhi had started crossing 1,000 plus regularly, and many of my friends were facing severe respiratory difficulties and allergies because of it. Even I'm suffering from sinusitis and asthmatic cough probably because of this. So we
Yeah.
had organized protests at the PM House and India Gate, and though the PMO eventually intervened in the matter, it was too late and not much could come out of it. During that period, we came across a tweet about an asthmatic teenager in Gurugram who had lost his life due to the high level of pollution. And for some reason, this really moved us. That day, we sort of promised ourselves to do something for him and for all the others who will suffer and who are suffering right now because of this simple issue.
But this teenager who died, Aditya, did you know him?
His father used to support us on Twitter and social media. He used to support our campaigns, and sort of it was really sad seeing someone
Yeah.
seeing someone who you know and seeing someone who could have lived a long life, a long healthy life, just pass away because of such a simple issue which can be resolved.
So you say it can be resolved, but our political class doesn't seem to agree that in fact it can be resolved at all. And Aman, let me ask you the same question. You, in your email to us, you wrote that your friend was asthmatic. So you and Aditya joined hands. So talk a little bit more about that.
Okay. So when I entered into my college in 2018, my best friend, she is asthmatic. Okay. So in winters, she's not coming. She was not in college, and when I get to know about that she's asthmatic, तो मेरे को लगा कि I should do something. और मेरे क्लास में around 60 students हैं. Out of that 4-5 students asthmatic हैं. तो दैट डे आई थॉट कि ये क्यों हो रहा है, क्योंकि इससे पहले मेरे को पता नहीं था कि एयर पोल्यूशन का इतना ज्यादा इम्पैक्ट होता होगा रेस्पिरेटरी डिजीज पे. तो मैंने एक्चुअली देखा कि लोगों को मतलब इवन दो मतलब सांस लेने में और भी काफी सारे इश्यूज होते हैं, रेस्पिरेटरी प्रॉब्लम्स होते हैं. तो दैट डे आई डिसाइडेड कि मैं कुछ करूंगा. तो आई हैड नो क्लू कि मैं कहाँ से स्टार्ट करूं. देन आई मेट भवरीन मैम, आदित्य, तो फिर हम लोगों ने प्रोटेस्ट किया सीपी में, इंडिया गेट के बाहर, प्राइम मिनिस्टर हाउस के बाहर. Then this year we were pre-planned. Me and Aditya have sent the letter to all the chief ministers regarding the air pollution ki stubble burning hone wale hain, pollution badhenge. No one has replied. Then in the last of September we filed a case in Supreme Court, and gladly ki central government ne commission banaya. Let's hope for the better implementation.
So when you took this step, you and Aditya, to go to the Supreme Court, how did people around you respond, Aman? कैसे उनका क्या response रहा?
सो स्टार्टिंग में काफी सारे लोगों ने सपोर्ट किया, क्योंकि इनिशियली जब मैं इस चीज में आया था तो भवरीन मैम इज द वन जिन्होंने हम लोग सभी लोगों को सपोर्ट किया था, फ्रॉम प्रोटेस्ट टू कोर्ट, एवरीवन. तो इस साल जब हम लोगों ने केस फाइल किया तो काफी लोग हमें ये कहने लगे कि वी आर एंटी फार्मर्स. हम लोगों ने स्टबल बर्निंग के लिए आवाज उठाया, इसलिए वी आर एंटी फार्मर्स. कई लोग हमें सपोर्ट भी कर रहे थे, यू आर डूइंग राइट थिंग, ये दिस इज द नीड ऑफ आवर, यू आर डूइंग ग्रेट. So we are taking only positive response और हम लोग आगे बढ़ते गए, और that's how things happen.
Fantastic. I mean, like I said, you and Aditya have done more than I think most adults. Now, Saurabh Bharadwaj is back with us. Dr. Rajesh Chawla, well-known pulmonologist, is also with us. Before I come to Dr. Chawla, Saurabh, I'm really hoping that we can hear you this time, and I'm really, really hoping we can hear you. Please do try and make your point.
Test 1 2 3. Test 1 2 3. Are you able to hear
Just make your point. Your audio is very far and very distant. I'm not sure why our producers keep putting it through.
Okay.
But आप बोलिए.
So I'll try to be loud.
हाँ, आप जोर से बोलिए.
I agree to all the people, all my young friends, and I believe that they are raising a valid point, and it is all about the intent of the elected governments. I'll tell you the real problem is, for last few days have been driving to the neighboring towns. I've been to Chandigarh, Haryana, Punjab, and I'm driving myself. I had made a lot of videos, and it looks like a doomed country. It looks like doomed cities, all hazy, all dusty, full of smoke. The only problem is, Barkha, that whenever we discuss this issue, I'm not talking about your channel. Whenever we discuss this issue, we discuss just Delhi, and we think that we can pressurize Delhi government so much that they can solve this problem. I think it's a very big problem. We have to sort it out along with few neighboring states, and the central government has to come in. And basically, I had a hope when Supreme Court formed a commission a few days back under the leadership of a retired Supreme Court Justice Lokur. But the central government opposed it, and now the central government has formed a commission. I don't hope much can be done by that commission. I believe that a meeting at the level of Environment Minister of India and the chief ministers of these 3-4 states, Punjab, UP, Haryana, Delhi, they should meet every month, and they should tell their states and the country what did they decide in this meeting. Nothing less than this, will help. The Babus do not have accountability. The environmental ministers don't have a face, So it should be run right from the top. I don't want, Prime Minister to get into it, because he has a lot of other things. But the environment minister of the country and the chief ministers, all should be there. Otherwise, the moment you make it a Delhi issue, it will stop on Delhi's chief minister, and nothing happens, Because everybody has to understand that the pollution in Gurgaon, pollution in Agra, pollution in Ballamgarh, pollution in Bhiwadi, pollution in Agra, pollution in Lucknow, whole North India is almost same. Just finding Delhi as a culprit and running all the shows on Delhi will not help. And it is not harming.
By the way, Saurabh, by the way, two of the parents sitting here are from Gurgaon. Bhavreen, is that not correct? We have in fact taken this to neighboring cities. Bhavreen, do you want to come in on this? On Saurabh's point that this is not a Delhi-centric argument, Bhavreen?
Yes, of course. And I'm not Gurugram, but yeah, Anuja's was stayed there, but we are, of course, Gurugram and Delhi, we're all working together on this. And it's not a city. We're suffering the same here. I mean, it was 346 even today, the AQI, in Delhi. And what I want to say here is, Saurabh, you're saying the top of, they are sitting and making policies, but it's your nodal officers, the junior staff which is going to actually implement all those laws. Where are they? The CPCB, the DPCC, the forest department, there is no staff. If there were 343 people in CPCB, which is nothing for Delhi, you should have at least 1500. Okay, we cannot challenge that, but there are 343, but there are only 103 people who are working. How will they reach these violations, and how are they going to? So this is all what you call is short talk, because when there's implementation, it will not
But
happen.
do you agree that it's not a Delhi-centric problem alone, Bhavreen? Do you agree with that?
No. I sorry, I didn't. I'm so sorry. The voice.
Do you agree with Saurabh that it's not a Delhi problem alone?
Yeah, no. It is. The air pollution is the whole India. It's all over India. It's a problem for all over India. I mean, Anuja is here in Pune and she has problems. There is this thing. So I quite. It's not one city or.
Okay, I'm going to let Saurabh. I'm going to let Saurabh respond briefly to you, and then I want to get Dr. Chavla in. Saurabh, please go ahead.
I think
Yeah.
she's raising a very valid point that yes, there are discrepancies in the departments, but I'm a politician, and I'm sitting here not just as a politician. I'm a sufferer of this pollution as well. So I'm saying, once you make the heads of the states accountable, once you make the central government's environment minister accountable, once the whole media is looking at every month meeting by them and looking at what is the outcome of the meeting, things will change. But if we keep targeting, डीपीसीसी ने के अंदर ये नहीं हुआ, उसने ये नहीं किया, दिल्ली के अंदर धूल चल रही थी, एमसीडी ने कूड़ा चला दिया, this will not sort out our problem. You have to make these top guys accountable, and it includes my chief minister of Delhi as well. We are ready to do anything and everything which comes out of those meetings. But the problem is, that Delhi may not be the best. We may not be doing the best. But what I can say is that, you compare whatever Delhi government has done with respect to Noida, Gurgaon, Faridabad, Bhiwadi, Ballabgarh, we have done a lot. We have, closed our thermal power plants. We don't have diesel generator sets. Lot of things. But I'm not here to brag about myself. We are ready to do anything. Let's have this, meetings. Let's have these top level meetings. Let's have an accountability.
But what I don't understand is the psychology of our country. I mean, like I was saying, Dr. Chavla is on. People are dying, children are dying. Dr. Chavla is probably treating people every single day. And sir, before I ask you to respond, look at the data. A new study says 1.67 million Indians died in 2019 from air pollution. 116,000 babies died from air pollution. Anuja was on our program earlier. She was talking about how her baby was born prematurely, and the doctors believed that was because of air pollution, and there were complications in this child's growing up. Dr. Chavla, how bad is it right now? In all the years that you're of course in Delhi. Saurabh makes the point कि आप लोग सिर्फ दिल्ली की बात क्यों करते हैं? How bad is it right now?
It has been always bad. We talk about this mainly in the winter season. Like all these TV programs, they just start because there is a lot of fog, the pollution level increases, and we talk a lot about it. And there is a little bit talk all throughout the year. Now this is a continuation. This is a continuous process. You cannot, you have to make a planning, and we talk too much. Even in the panel, if you ask them what have they done themselves, we don't do. Every citizen has to contribute if we have to make a difference. Any kind of government, whether it is the Delhi government or a central government, of course, there are ways where they can bring legislation and can do some kind of restrictions on people. But actually, it is the every person. And the pollution level over the years, we've been talking about this last 20 years, it has only increased. And nothing has been done. And I really don't know how to go about it, because where they have to come out of their political alignments, they have to sit together and jointly, whether it's a Delhi or Pune, or they have to make
What are you seeing among your patients? What are the kind of impact that you're seeing?
Now, the COVID, there are about 5% of patients, 5 or 10% of patients who are having tough time with COVID, and they're getting discharged with breathlessness, and probably many of them would be breathless all their life. These patients, many of them are coming back with a lot of complaints because the pollution level is high. So their problems when they are exposed to these suspended particles and gases, their problems are increasing. And the number of respiratory cases, of course, we are seeing partly because of COVID, but otherwise also the number of cases, sufferings, they are definitely increased this year. And many
Yeah.
of them have suffered from the disease and the effect of the, the, the air pollution. But I think, I have been in panels, I have given lectures, I have participated. We just talk about it. We
Yeah,
don't
I
do
agree.
much about it.
I agree.
And
I agree. It's almost perfunctory कि हर साल यही conversation होता है. So what I'm going to
no,
do is,
you can hear all the panel talking about
yeah.
this is not this, but everybody should talk. What should we do? Somewhere something will come up, and I think when there's a time has come, we should talk about what should we do, and what
So
I'm doing at my level.
yeah,
Every
that's a
person
very
has
good point. Very good point. And I'm going to ask you what we can do. But Saurabh is up, and I want our two young boys on the show, Aman and Aditya, because Dr. Chawla said, "Hum kya kar rahe hain?" Well, Dr. Chawla, these two young boys, they went to the streets, they protested, and they went to the Supreme Court. So they did actually try and do something at their level. Now, Aditya, I want to ask you, if you had to ask a question to Saurabh Bhardwaj, what would that question be? Aditya and Aman are both with us. अगर आप में दोनों में से जो आप सुप्रीम कोर्ट गए आपने पिटिशन किया, अगर आप सौरभ भारद्वाज से एज अ पब्लिक फिगर, नॉट जस्ट अबाउट दिल्ली, कुछ पूछना चाहेंगे तो आप क्या पूछना चाहेंगे? Aditya, I'll start with you.
So, as we are talking about the Delhi government right now, see, Delhi government has come up with a number of regulations and campaigns in the last few days. But why does Delhi government always start taking action only during this period? Last year, they had promised us that they would take action and they would take some steps, but nothing happened. Why is odd even schemes like odd even only implemented during this time?
Okay, let Aman add a question.
I think
Saurabh, एक minute. Let Aman add a question. Aman,
Add one
अपना सवाल
request.
जोड़ लीजिए. Aman.
एड वन रिक्वेस्ट, आज दिल्ली के चीफ मिनिस्टर ने एक ट्वीट किया है कि पूसा इंस्टीट्यूट से स्टबल बर्निंग के लिए उनके लिए कुछ एक ऐसे मटेरियल है जो स्टबल को बिना जलाए वो फर्टिलाइजर में कन्वर्ट हो जाते हैं. सो ही टोल्ड कि वो सुप्रीम कोर्ट में उसे देना चाहते हैं. टुमारो इज आवर हियरिंग इन सुप्रीम कोर्ट रिगार्डिंग दिस. वी वांट कि कल आप लोग वो अपने मतलब थ्रू योर लॉयर वो पूसा इंस्टीट्यूट के जो फर्टिलाइजर है वो सबमिट कर दे सुप्रीम कोर्ट में, सो दैट इट विल बी बेटर फॉर द हरियाणा एंड अदर स्टेट जहाँ पे स्टबल बर्निंग बहुत हो रहा है. So it's my request to you.
Right. Okay. So we have already decided that as Delhi government we will submit this solution that this is something which we tried and we implemented it practically and it worked. It worked very well. And probably this is a very cheap solution. We understand that other state governments have inhibitions because of the money thing. But this is a very cheap solution. Even these states can distribute it for free to the farmers. So first thing is we will be doing it tomorrow in the Supreme Court. Second thing is, I agree to him that, why is it that, all these measures can be seen only at the time of pollution? Why is it that, all even can be seen only at the time of this pollution? So I do agree that, the governments come into action mostly at the time of this peak pollution, frankly, because of the reason that, when government, these steps are, bit harsh steps. For example, odd even is a harsh step, or,
Right.
forcing
But
somebody not to construct is a harsh step.
don't we need that harshness? Don't we need that harshness?
Yes, we need. Barkha, we need that harshness. So usually if the government comes up with these plans towards this time of the year, there will be less litigations in the courts, and even the courts will be more sensitive towards these things. If you do it at some other time of the year, usually courts are very I don't want to use a contemptuous word, but courts are very easy to give stays on things which are brought in by the government. Even the political political opponents will try to make fun of it, like even an odd thing is something for which there was so much of fun making around it. And I agree that yes, we should have done it across the year, and I believe that this year, because of COVID, our government's priorities were bit haywire, But I promise to you, my young friends and the ladies on the panel, that you'll see a lot of commitment in this coming year with respect to environment pollution. I know personally that the chief minister is interested in this thing, and he has an intent for doing it. My
Okay.
only worry is that Delhi is too small to do a lot for this entire region, because we don't have chambers.
Yeah.
The environment is all open; it is shared by all. So let's do it together. We are ready to do our share.
Okay, let me now start taking last comments from all of you. Dr. Chawla, you said that ये बात करना बंद करो, कुछ करो और अपने लेवल पे कुछ करो. तो अगर आपको सबको, I introduced you to these two boys who went to the Supreme Court. What about the adults? What can we all be doing at our level that we are not doing?
Few things which always come to my mind is there should be rationing of vehicles. The Delhi can't accommodate more vehicles. People are just buying 3 vehicles, 4 vehicles, 4 kids, 4 vehicles. This has to be stopped. Somewhere this rationing, because the number of vehicles, unless you sell a vehicle, you can't buy a vehicle. Because if the number of vehicles keep on increasing every year, there are more vehicles and they will add to pollution. And I think now the government should make these electrical vehicles more at a war footing, more electrical vehicles available, and they should be cheaper. So they will also contribute somewhere, because even today the emission, of course in winters there are other sources.
Yeah.
But this is one of the main important, where they have to sit together and find out that this doesn't increase, because it will make a lot of difference. We do odd even this, the people keep 2 vehicles. They will keep, there are people who can afford, they will keep a odd, and even those still there you will find a lot of people, they will still drive. So we need to work on that, because I feel that can make a lot of difference. Because all other things at a personal level, we know how we are. I mean, people just don't listen. Even today, if people had listened, the COVID would have been controlled. In Delhi, it is rising. In spite of the fact, knowing fully well that please don't organize gatherings, please don't do. People are organizing, they are meeting. So
यही तो समझ नहीं आता. Why are we not angrier? Why are we not understanding how serious the situation is? Bhavri, would you like to ask Saurabh anything, and Anuja? Quick responses. I have to start closing. So if you want to ask Saurabh anything, you can go ahead.
Saurabh, I just wanted to also say that, throughout the year, I mean, we need these, like, of course, you said now because of COVID, it was slow, but where is the public transport? Waste management is not so much of your part of your thing, but still, so these are issues that, why are we talking of thermal power plants now in this last month? Why were they not the norms, implemented earlier? So these are the things that we need to do throughout the year. Like as of now, you need to start working for the next year. The tree transplantation policy, so sorry to say that, your smog towers, that is not going to help the pollution. Please quote me, and you can keep this recorded with a date, and maybe 2 years from now, you will tell me that, yeah, it's all a waste. It's like those, grooming machines that, those trucks are lying with, dust covered trucks now, they're of no use. That's exactly what is going to happen. The funds will be just lost, and no effect is brought. So we are wasting a lot of time. We are wasting our children like Aditya, and our children who are suffering asthma. There is no time. There is an urgency.
Yeah.
So like,
let Anuja add a comment, and Dr. Uman and Saurabh can have the last word. Anuja, if you'd like to say something,
Saurabh, Saurabh, my only issue is that people still cut trees and burn coal and wood as for cooking. That should be absolutely stopped and banned, because you can provide LPG gas cylinder to everybody. That's not fair कि हम लोग बोल रहे हैं हम environment को बचाएंगे, लेकिन हम उन लोगों को कोयले पे खाना बनाने देंगे और उन लोगों को लकड़ी जलाने देंगे, उनको ही तो lungs की problem होगी. We are creating more patients. We don't have so many hospitals and doctors. And plus, Delhi should not be the pollution capital of the world.
Okay,
That's
Dr.
really
Uman,
embarrassing.
quickly, if you want to add a point.
Yeah, sure. Sort of one thing that we could definitely do from Delhi perspective and for the region also is to use data as a tool to address this. We talk about artificial intelligence. We want to be a 5 trillion economy using artificial intelligence. This is a really good problem to solve using data science. So my Delhi government should run a data challenge, use the capacity of data scientists and come up with solutions and
Uh,
innovations.
Yeah. Dr. Chavla, if there's
Barkha,
one thing, yeah, Saurabh, could just give me half a second. Dr. Chavla, if there's one thing you think, one of the things Saurabh said was this is not a Delhi problem. This is not a Delhi problem. This is a pan-India problem. If there's one thing you think governments across India need to be doing differently, what would it be?
They should have I think there should be Ministry of Prevention of Pollution. You require that kind of a concentrated, focused effort at a national level, because this problem otherwise will take away a lot of economical burden it will have in the coming years. I think that's what is required.
That's
With that
very,
kind
very interesting. You're actually saying, Rajesh Chavla, that we now need a union ministry for air pollution. Is
yes,
that what you're
correct.
saying?
That's correct.
Wow. Yeah. Okay, Saurabh, last word. You've heard everybody.
Barkha, first of all, I want to compliment you for this balanced panel. I think everybody who is on your panel is very well-meaning and they want to, positively work on the issue. And I noted down almost everything. And the thermal power plants, I just wanted to say that they have been closed permanently for last 3 years in Delhi. But there are 13 thermal plants in our NCR region. 3 were in Delhi. We have closed all of 3, and all others are running. In UP, Haryana, and Punjab. They have no intention of closing them as well. And Dr. Chavla's suggestion of rationing vehicles, I think that's a very good idea. And I'll definitely put it forward with the government that somehow we should push electrical vehicles and try to control these diesel and petrol vehicles. Obviously, lot more can be done. Whenever I sit in a debate related to pollution, I am in, I don't want to win this debate. I agree that, whenever, because it's a bad situation and obviously people will curse the government, and the government which is nearest to them is the Delhi government, and they'll curse. So we are open to that thing. But yes, all good ideas came up in this panel, and it is good to have these discussions. More discussions will promote a lot of others to talk about it, and it will become an issue. Once it becomes a political issue, all politicians will compete with each other to work on pollution. So let's keep talking about it. Let's do also something like Dr. Chavla said, but let's not stop talking about it. It is important. Then only the political class will be cognizant to it.
Right. I think also I agree with Dr. Chavla on another thing, that this is about us. And if your politicians, no matter which state you're in, are not doing what they think they should be doing, we need to be a lot angrier as people. These are the issues we need to vote on. These are the issues that should be in the mainstream of our media, in the mainstream of our politics. And we can take inspiration from Aman and Aditya in particular, who as a 17-year-old and 20-year-old worked up the energy to go to the Supreme Court. I'm going to leave it here for now. We'll keep an eye on this story. Thank you, Saurabh, for taking that feedback from all the citizens. And they're not just from Delhi, they're from Pune, they're from Haryana, they're actually from everywhere. And Rajesh Chavla for that fantastic suggestion. I think it is time for a union ministry for air pollution. Things indeed are that bad. Leaving it there, but we'll return to this story.